everybody, I'm Ken and welcome back to another episode of The Lazy Gourmet. Today I want to show you how to make that traditional classic dish, moussaka. Everybody knows this dish, everybody loves this, but yet so many people are afraid to try this or make it for themselves only because they think it's too complicated. This is where I come in right now, and I'm going to show you a quick, easy, and delicious way to make this that's a little more nutritious because we're going to eliminate the frying part of this dish. Second of all, we're going to divide and conquer. Simply, there's three parts to this dish. There's the veggies, which are the potato and the eggplant. There is the meat sauce, and then there's the Béchamel. All we're going to do is divide those up into three tasks and then combine them to make the one gorgeous dish. First things first, what I would suggest we start off with is putting our oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit or about 220 degrees Celsius and put our rack in the middle position. The next step to this traditionally is to slice up our eggplant and our potatoes and fry them up. In this case, what I'm going to do is two different things. Number one, I'm going to bake the eggplant once it's sliced in the pan. And number two, I'm going to take our potatoes and put them in the microwave and nuke them. That's right, I'm going to prepare them in the microwave, par cook them, and then layer them and prepare our dish. So we have our eggplants here. Cut off the ends. I don't like using the ends. There's nothing wrong with these, don't get me wrong. I just don't like using them. What you're going to do is cut the eggplant into 1/4 inch or so slices, so that way it makes it easier for it to cook and for all the flavors of the meat sauce to permeate in. So now that we've cut our eggplant into slices, we're just going to start layering it at the bottom of our pan, our baking pan, with just a little bit of olive oil, just to lube it up. And the first layer we do, again, we're going to drizzle with just a little bit of olive oil, maybe a tablespoon or two, a little bit of salt and pepper, and that's it. There's a little bit more room here, so what I'm going to do is just continue slicing my eggplant and just to fill it up. Now, as the eggplant cooks, this will actually shrink or dehydrate in the oven, but that's totally fine as well. A little more salt, a little more pepper, and our oven is already preheating to 425 degrees. So what I'm going to do now is just take this and pop it in the oven. So here I have some russet potatoes, skins on. Why go through the extra step? There's a reason why they call me the Lazy Gourmet, and that is because all the vitamins and all the good stuff is in the skins. Just make sure that your potatoes are clean and there's no kind of growths coming out of them, any roots or anything like that, and then you're totally fine. The trick to this is traditionally they slice these up and they fry them. What I'm going to show you today is very simply take them, put them in your microwave, and cook them up for about 10 minutes on a high setting. That's all you need. All right, so now our eggplants are out of the oven. They're ready to go to the next stage of this recipe. Our potatoes are done. They've been finished from the microwave and now have cooled down a little bit so you can handle them. The next part of this recipe is to start slicing up our potatoes, again, about a 1/4 inch thick, and start putting them, layering them over our eggplant. Now, some of these will break down on you. Leave them off to the side. That's totally normal. And very carefully, because at this point they're still hot. By popping them in the microwave, we've shortened our preparation time and our effort. Rather than boiling them in water or frying them in olive oil, it's much simpler to do it this way, and you don't sacrifice any taste at all or flavor. Alrighty, so now our potatoes have been layered. As you can see, they're ready to go. Next step to this, again, we season as we go. A little bit of salt, a a little bit of fresh cracked black pepper over this mixture and another little drizzle of olive oil. Like I said, a couple of tablespoons maybe. Perfect. And now this will go back in the oven, 425 as we said, while we do the next step, which is our meat sauce. So now we have our pan going. Time to sear off our lean ground beef for the meat sauce. About a tablespoon or two of olive oil goes in. Then we have our lean ground beef that goes in. I usually like to kind of crumble it with my hands before it goes in. That way it gives it a little bit of a more even and quicker char time. And it browns a lot more even as well. So that goes in there just like that. Put this away, and our rule, wash the hands with soap real quick. Perfect. Now we're ready to go. Our ground beef is browning. Next part of this recipe is a couple of onions that we're gonna just chop up real quick. And this is one of these recipes where you're gonna finely chop the onion, and it will probably in the process just simmer down and cook down into nothing basically. All right, our onions are done being chopped. This is coming along great now. Let's take our onions and just put them in there. Fantastic. There we go. Just like that. So that's 2 onions in. So now our ground beef, onions and garlic are working away, and they're working down now. Time to continue on with our sauce story by adding a little bit of first tomato paste, about a tablespoon. That's what's actually going to give us that really rich, that really decadent color. Very nice. Take that. And what we do at this stage is let that tomato paste kind of work its way in with the ground beef. And as it heats up, it'll actually start loosening up. And you can see now what's happening in my pan. The ground beef and everything else is starting to take on that nice red color as the tomato paste starts to melt. And let's not forget about the caramelization that's happening at the bottom of the pan. Fantastic. And the next part of this is our crushed tomatoes. For this, we're gonna do about 14 ounces of crushed tomatoes that are gonna go into this. Just like that. Let them kind of do their thing. And we're gonna add another 14 ounces of water on top of that to dilute it down. So our water goes in. At this stage, we just want to reduce our heat to about a medium and simmer this for about 15 to 20 minutes just until it tightens up. All right, so our sauce is tightening up nicely. It's been about 15 minutes or so. Time to kind of take this to the next level. A trick to this tomato sauce and to making typically moussakas or pasticcia is the use of breadcrumbs in the sauce. In my case, I'm using my own seasoned breadcrumbs that I made a video to, by the way, which you can check out in my video section. But you use about a cup of these, and what this does is it helps tighten up the sauce and add a little more flavor to it. So about a cup goes in, just like that. And just give this a quick stir around. Now what happens is all the seasonings of the breadcrumbs kind of marry with the sauce, and it also tightens up. Let me actually turn this off because we don't need the heat anymore. And this will become not a paste, but much, much thicker. You don't want this to be like a runny, soupy mess and it just becomes gross. This is supposed to coat your potatoes and your eggplant and everything else in there and kind of permeate through the layers as it bakes. I'm actually making a mess here, but can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs, you know what I mean? So our sauce is pretty much ready to go. Our potatoes and our eggplants are in the oven, so I'm gonna pull those out now and I'm gonna show you where we go from there. So our potatoes and our eggplants are done. They're out, ready to go. Let me move this out of the way here so you guys can get a better look at this. And you can see they're actually starting to golden and crisp up here. The next part of this is to simply take our tomato sauce and slowly just start spooning it over. Do you see where I'm going with this? Now, tell me in what universe this doesn't look delicious. Oh, amazing. Absolutely amazing. So that goes in just like that. At this stage of our moussaka process, nothing complicated. You're with me so far, you saw exactly what I did. Sliced up a few potatoes and a few eggplants, baked the eggplants, microwaved the potatoes, put them all here with a little bit of olive oil, salt and pepper. After that, we worked on our tomato sauce. Again, very easy, nothing to this. Now it's time for the next stage, which is our bechamel sauce. We're almost ready, we're almost there. One more step. So now we're on to our final stage of our moussaka, which is the bechamel. Very easy. Just follow these simple instructions and you will not go wrong, I promise you. So now our pot is on. What we're going to do is we're going to use first 1 cup of butter goes in there and we'll start melting. I use salted butter. Preference, just the way it is. You can use unsalted if you like, totally fine, whatever works for you. So that's our 1 cup of butter going in and it's already starting to melt. The next part of this is we're going to throw in 1 cup of AP flour. That goes in as well and that will start working now. Now that our roux is well on its way, and roux is basically just a fancy term for butter and flour, to avoid getting that floury kind of doughy kind of taste, let your butter and your flour kind of cook through a little bit. That way it brings out the nuttiness more than that doughiness. So the next part of this, and remember to keep it going almost constantly, bring down our heat a little bit here, is start adding our milk. For my dear friends that are not from Canada, this is how we get our milk here. Basically, it comes in these convenient bags and this is how it gets distributed. The cows simply squat, shoot one of these bags out, and everybody's happy. So into this, we're gonna start off with 1 liter of milk. In my case, I'm using 2%. If you see that it's tightening up for you too much, add a little bit more milk, not a big deal. All right, so that's going nicely now, just like that. Let that kind of heat through. The next part of this is to make this a little more decadent, a little more rich, and in tune with tradition. I want to put in 2 whipped egg yolks into the bechamel. I will tell you this right now, separating eggs is not my strong point. I will do my best here. So, wish me luck. All right. There's 1. And let's go for 2. See if we can do 2 for 2 today. Perfect. So that's 2 egg yolks. The egg whites we can save for whoever wants to make an egg white omelet, whatever. That's there. Next thing, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper will go into this. What I'm gonna do now is real quick. Just whip these up. Basically what you want to do is just scramble these egg yolks basically and just mix in the salt and pepper. Just going to take this, just pour these egg yolks in there. You with me so far? Excellent. The next part of this is another little trick. Well, not so much a trick, but something that is added to the bechamel, and that is nutmeg. I always like to use fresh nutmeg pods. Just makes it that much of a nicer flavor. So about half a pod goes into this. You're not making custard or you're not making apple pie, so you don't want that predominant nutmeg flavor in this. You just want something in the background. So our nutmeg goes in, and we continue with our bechamel. That's kind of what we're looking for here. Another minute or so and we're ready to go. All right, so now the moment of truth. Let me turn this off. Our bechamel is pretty much ready to go. Look at that, that's fantastic. All right, now carefully, because this is extremely hot, start pouring this over your moussaka. And just let it kind of go where it may. Is that even the right way to say that? But, so let that go everywhere. It'll find its way. Hopefully you have a level counter that you're doing this on. And this, before it hardens too much, just take it and kind of just let it kind of go in the corners. Let it fill its own nooks and crannies, just like that. All right, my dear friends, so now one more layer to this story is a little bit of paprika. Just a little bit of smoked paprika just goes over. Not a lot, just enough to give it that little kiss of savoriness, that extra savoriness. Perfect. That was not too hard at all. You have to admit, it was like basically a few steps. We divided them up and we conquered this. So now this will go into a 425-degree oven for about 45 minutes, give or take. Now, what you are basically looking for is this golden color on top of this and a little bit of darker blistering. When it's at that point, you're golden. You are perfect. So I'm going to pop this in the oven, let it bake away, and we'll take it from there. And now for the moment of truth. My moussaka is out of the oven. It's been sitting here for about 45 minutes, about an hour, give or take. And it has turned out perfectly. It's not actually overdone. It's that paprika that I sprinkled on before I put it in the oven. So now let's get to it. My favorite part of any recipe, and I'm really excited for this. So I'm gonna tackle it basically down the middle. The bechamel now has tightened up, so it's not going to be runny and it's not going to be like gross on you, so it's going to be really good. And I'm just going to cut these pieces into portion sizes. This pan, which is maybe 9 by 14, will cut 8 generous portions. Fantastic. I'm just going to cut a little piece here from the corner and just bring it out and let you see it, and I'll taste it, and then well, there's somebody else that wants to taste too, apparently. Now this is usually like the sloppiest piece, but I'll give it a shot anyway. And there it is. But ooh. Behave. So that's that. And here we have our finished moussaka. The layers of the bechamel are here, nice and creamy. Underneath, our potatoes and our eggplant underneath that. This is absolutely so, oh my gosh. I'm gonna try this now. Hopefully I won't incinerate my tongue. Okay, that's really hot, but oh my God, is that ever good. And it's been sitting here for like an hour. Oh my God. This is grease in the taverna, basically, or somebody's house, and all the flavors are bang on. It is a little on the decadent side, I'll tell you that. Really good, really, really good. It's rich, it's luxurious. See this right here? That's what 4 hours on a treadmill looks like. But it's gonna be so worth it. It is absolutely magnificent. I just wanted to thank you for your time in watching this. I hope you learned something, I really do. It's very easy as long as you're organized. There's nothing too complicated to making this recipe at all. So, until next time, I'm Ken. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you like this video. If you do, you know what to do and what to press. Subscribe, share, send me your comments, your ideas, suggestions, anything. I love to hear from you. And until next time, I'll talk to you later. Bye for now.